Let's go to Rick in California. Hey, Rick, you are live on Truth Wanted. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, Dan? What's up, Derek? How's it going, guys?
What's up,
Dude,
brother?
It's a chill night. It's November 8th.
Not December 20th.
Not December. December 15th.
December
15th.
We just started November, yeah.
That's right. That's right.
What you got for us, brother?
Hey, well, look, I just had a quick question. I guess, I grew up Christian, was born in it. I guess how people would translate how I became an atheist, I guess what I'm trying to say is I just came across a video and just started watching from there, and then just one thing after another just started making sense. And it just all of a sudden, just one day, I just said, wait, is there a God? Well, bottom line, my question is, so I pretty much came to this point where ever since I was younger and just being younger, you hear the old, when preachers and pastors, I grew up Pentecostal. So, the rules there were just really extreme. But one of the things that they would preach is, for example, like shellfish. The Bible says we can't eat shellfish. And you ask them, well, why do we still eat shellfish if the Bible says not to? And their argument is that's the Old Testament. And then, so my question is, I always had this feeling that tithing was probably a little bit immoral, I guess, in the Christian church. I always felt like it was. And now that I'm an atheist, I definitely look at it like that's very immoral because, particular pastors will actually get on the pulpit and preach like you should be tithing, you should be doing this because I'm gonna give an account to God, and I'm gonna account for your soul. And it's just so confusing, especially being part of the Christian church. It's like, well, God knows everything anyway. Why do you have to give an account for me?
Can I ask you a question?
That was my question.
Can I ask you a question real quick? What does God need with $1? What does God need with a starship?
Well, here's
I agree. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I thought you were asking me.
No. Here's the take on it that I have. So growing up, I spent some time in both the Methodist and Baptist church. And what's interesting about the Baptist church is that if you're a member of the Baptist church, you are kind of invited to their, I forget what they call it, but basically their meetings that they have where they talk about the financials of the church. Mm-hmm. And they actually talk about, okay, what are we doing with this money? Where's this budget going? You can actually vote on issues and stuff. Mm-hmm. And other denominations, this is a privilege that you have too, as long as even if you're a kid. At our church, as long as you were baptized and you're a member of the church, you could do it. So kids could be voting on some of these issues and stuff like that. So that's kind of different from a lot of the structure that people traditionally think about when they're talking about finances in the church. They're thinking, oh, it's going to go in the pastor's pockets and stuff like that. Yeah. And that's definitely a thing. Do not get me wrong. That is absolutely a thing that happens. But a lot of times, if we're looking at churches on kind of the local level and how they're servicing a community, I don't think most pastors are making crazy amounts of money with this kinds of stuff. And so as an atheist, I personally don't try to donate to any churches. Right. And that's not a hate against what any kind of church is doing in the community or local areas, but I know that some of that money is at least going to be teaching beliefs that I just don't believe in. Yeah.
It was an interesting story. This actually came up. I was actually a human lab rat, where you go and do clinical studies and they pay you to test these drugs. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people that are in these programs actually do this for a living. And there was just one gentleman explaining his situation, and he goes, oh, and for a key to be successful, you have to tithe. And he was telling this other individual in a way that it was like required that if you wanted to receive blessings from God, you must give. And this is, to me, it's really a sad display of indoctrination that they've tied this act of tithing to your salvation. Yes. This is the scam artist portion of it, because I believe that, it's like, for me to be in the good graces of God, I must give 10% of my salary, which is ridiculous. Whereas, and that's really what it is. Although most people were like, well, I'm donating so that I can help other people. No, it's really a ticket to heaven.
Here's another thing that I've seen more and more happen these days. The televangelists that people used to see back on TV in like the 80s and 90s.
Still.
They're still around, but here's what they've moved to, Derek. They've moved to online platforms.
Yep.
There's a lot of these guys that have Twitter accounts, and they're posting this stuff every day about you need to sow your seed. And if you sow your seed, this is donating money, right? If you sow your seed, then eventually, good things will happen, and you'll prosper from this and stuff.
You will reap. Yeah.
And like, oh my goodness, like the comments that you see on some of this stuff. I mean, I tried commenting one time. They blocked me, I think.
Yeah.
And it's much more prevalent than what people imagine. Like I used to think, the televangelist stuff, that's for older folks. Like that's not, people don't really fall for that anymore. But no, it's just kind of evolved. It's actually changing. Some of those more predatory tactics when it comes to taking people's money. But, your call is originally asking, is it moral to kind of give to a church? I mean, for an atheist, I'd say, if I truly don't believe that what they're saying is true, and if I ultimately believe that, there's harms that come from the beliefs that they have, for me, I can't, right?
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't call it immoral, but I would have a very difficult. Say, for example, for me to donate or tithe to a Catholic church who is a known criminal organization, I would have serious problems with that because a lot of my beliefs are in conflict with what they're doing with that money.
Yeah, exactly.
But local
I'm
churches.
Sorry, I think.
Go ahead.
What's up, Rick?
Oh no, my bad. I guess what I was really asking, I probably asked it the wrong way. I was asking, do you think it's immoral for a pastor to be asking for that when he can easily say,
okay.
Yeah,
so our note here said,
when he can easily say like, hey, well, that's the Old Testament. I don't have to preach that if I don't want.
Got it. Okay.
I can just work.
Yeah, our note here.
My question is,
Yeah. Okay. Our note here had said something a bit different, so that's kind of what we were going off of.
Yeah.
So, so a pastor for asking for money. Well, I mean, think about it like this. I mean, if you have to keep the buildings have costs, right? You got to pay for the electricity. You got to pay for other stuff.
Which that's an offering, right?
Yeah, you got, and so like
versus tithe.
Yeah, and people who might want to give to the church anyway are probably going to do it, but they might want a reminder or a prompt from the church because that's what they're used for.
There's actually stories of people getting kicked out of the church for not meeting their tithing commitment.
Yeah, and so the tithing commitment stuff, that's little
immoral.
I don't like that.
Man.
That's like a payment plan for like a, you know what I mean? Like it's just not gonna. I don't know.
Definitely.
But I don't. So as a pastor asking for money to help for his organization, I don't think that's because. So here's the thing too, right? Truth Wanted and other shows here. I mean, we have Patreons. Mm-hmm. Of course, all that goes to the organization. At least this one does. And all of them do. They don't. None of the hosts here make any money off of those shows, right? So that's something I could say I can at least avoid. But we do ask for money because we want to help the organization's efforts in what we're doing. And so, in that sense, if a pastor truly believes what he believes and what he's doing is right, I don't think it's immoral. But if he knows, right? If he's one of those guys that's like, this is I'm gonna benefit from this.
Well, no way are we saying that to donate to Truth Wanted is going to affect your immortal soul.
Oh, that's true too. So like we don't do threats.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've thought about many times ever since I became an atheist, just because I mean, when you get out of that religion, you finally say, man, I don't know which religion is right. And then when that evolution and that big bang, I mean, which we're not 100% saying that this is what happened. We're saying that the evidence leads to this.
Yeah.
But when that hits, it's like it's just a mind opener.
Yeah.
And
different world.
Where I was going with that exactly. But,
different world. Well, Rick, here's what you need to do.
Different world.
Set up your tithing for patreon.com/truthwanted, and you can give as much money as you want per episode. If you're trying to fill that hole in your life,
are you using your wizarding skills to influence them?
What if I am though, and I don't even realize it? Like I'm just that.
I don't think you're a white wizard no more. I think you're a dark wizard.
Listen, I'm pretty white, dude. I don't know.
Funny.
Rick, thanks for calling, man. Really do appreciate it, and would love to hear from you again sometime.
No problem, man.
Take care, my friend.
Thank you so much for really everything you guys done. Have a good one.
Appreciate it, Rick. Take care. So money and religion happens to coincide a lot more than what.
So this is fun. I'm really enjoying this.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh, good.
I've never sat so close to a wizard before.
I don't think I've ever sat this close to a wizard either. To be honest,
I'm not a wizard. Remember, I don't have magical eyes.
I'm talking about myself. Just like I don't know. I got to figure this out. I guess. Some wizards have to train me. Where are my wizard mentors at?
A wizard's got to do what a wizard's got to do.
If there's some wizards that want to come to the ACA and help me hone my skills, like I'm imagining like a Yoda Luke Skywalker situation where I'm just gonna be able to force lift some stuff, just perform some real miracles.
You will donate to my Patreon.
Well, I will see, and I'll try to be a good wizard. I think that's what it means if I'm a white wizard. I'm doing good stuff, right?
I don't think you'll do. I think you'll do the dab. Or how about the I Dream a Genie?
Oh yeah, doing the I Dream a Genie thing. If I cast spells, I'll make it a dab on people, and that's how you know I'm doing it.